Yo, people, what's good? Another video from your boy Shellstastic. I want to definitely try to keep them more regular now. You know, definitely got so much to talk about, and they might be different places. Sometimes it might be when I'm at work or when I'm in the van doing my deliveries. Now I might just start moving around. They won't always just be in my house. I'm gonna just be organic with it. Wherever I am, I'm just gonna do them. That's sometimes the best way, rather than trying to set a perfect time and place for it. We're just gonna make my channel's gonna be different. It's just gonna be anywhere. I could be walking on the road down. I could be walking with my boy. I could be walking anywhere, doing anything, and just doing a video. You know what I mean? It's gonna do everything, anytime, anywhere. As soon as the thoughts in my mind, get the camera out. Let's go. You hear me? So that's what I'm gonna switch up a bit now, rather than just do the same old scenario kind of thing. You know what I mean? Get different settings, all of that. So yeah, man. This video is gonna be about the mismanagement of Yarde, and this is going to be solely on him. And I'm going to talk into the Batavia fight potentially in October. I was listening to Base the Kid. He was on the Undefeated last night. Shout out to them guys out there as well, man. For the community, for the family, man. Definitely, man. And I was listening to his when he was obviously having his moment on the mic yesterday. So he called in, and he's said everything that I was saying to my boy. Me and you have voice notes, and I said the same things, and he just said it. Obviously, I didn't get a chance to even see the show last night. I'm gonna watch it anyway, rewatch it. And he said, "I wish I was up because I would have called in and just congratulate." Because that's the exact same thing I was thinking with Yarde. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know if you lot follow stuff like that, but go follow them guys as well. And Yarde's career has been so mismanaged. He's such a precocious talent because he had no amateur career, right? So when you have a guy that's had, I don't know how many fights he had, 10, 11, but it wasn't even at high level, just a general standard level, right? You got to move them man slow, because them man, number one, don't have it fighting. Forget about, I know amateurs and professionals are a different sport, right? I get that. But you can't replace the one thing they have in common is the experience of fighting. Whether, yes, one is more like point scoring and one is actually got to be out there to hurt, man. There's still experience of fighting, regardless of which one is more amateur style, which is more professional style. It doesn't matter. There's still you're in the ring fighting someone, right? You can't replace that. So Yarde needed to be moved slowly, but in the right ways. We saw him sit there for time fighting journeyman. We already knew he was too good for that level. So we were asking for the step ups, and I remember Tunde coming out and saying, "Well, we're going to move at our own pace," right? At the time, and I said, "Cool, fair enough." You know your fighter better. You're in the gym with him all the day, every day. You know your fighter better than all us fans and anyone else, right? And you're his manager on top of that. So you're going to move him correctly. And I respect that. The only problem we have is that he went from German. Oh, cool. Now he's number one mandatory for Kovalev, and then he went for Kovalev. Well, how do you go from fighting journeyman to going to fighting elite world champions? How does that make sense? What about British level? What about European level? What about fringe world level? And fighting former world champions and contenders? And then saying, you know what? With chess, we're ready for that world title. Whether we have the ability to win it or not, man can go in and say, you know what? Man's ready for that world title shot. You couldn't say that. You went in there, had one good round where you could have got Kovalev out of there. And again, for me, that was down to inexperience of knowing not to punch yourself out in a fight when you're fighting against an elite guy. Because he's always going to stay hurt the next round. And so you can get on him again. But the inexperience, not fighting them kind of fights and being in fights like that prior to that, he got himself knocked out down the line, right? Cool, that's fine. You can leap up for greatness and fall short. That's fine. Now we know where we need to do, where to improve. And what's he done since then? He fought a journeyman and Dex Spellman. He had 2 Lyndon Arthur fights. I think there's another fight in between the first and the second fight of Lyndon Arthur. I think it was somewhere in Spain or something. I can't remember, but I'm sure there was another fight in between. But that guy you could class a journeyman as well. So you basically fought 2 journeymans and 2 Lyndon Arthur fights. So no offense to Lyndon Arthur, great fighter. Like him as a personality and stuff like that. But Lyndon Arthur fought who before Yarde? No one. So he fought. Yarde was his coming out to party fight, where he was in the dark and light, and then Yarde brought him out in the light, right? So Lyndon Arthur fought no one either. So who are you really fighting? And then you're going back to being fighting Batavia in October. You're not ready for that fight. There's nothing in between to say you're ready. You haven't done that. You went up to greatness, got knocked out, come back, and then fought no one and gone back up. What normally happens when a fighter gets up there and he loses and he falls short of world title level, which is no shame at all. Not many people become world champion in boxing, right? Let alone even southern areas, stuff like that. But it's 2 things. One, either they're kind of close at the weight, they drain a bit so they might move up, or they come back down, they fight They might fight at British level. They might fight a journeyman, come out just to just to get the confidence back again. Then they go fight at British level or European level, and then they fight a contender or former world champion. See how they go. See they've done the improvements, and then they go and take another shot at world title again. That's what you do. That's the route you do back to that level. You don't come back and fight. Let's say British level now. But at the time when we fought Linden for the first time, we didn't know he was British level, right? And you come back and you fight Dex Spellman, and then you fight Linden for say twice, and then this other guy, right? And then you think you're ready for Peterviev. What happened to the European level? What happened to the fringe contender? What happened to the former world champions? Contender, the same guys on the same level as you fighting. Like I'm thinking about, I don't know if he still fights now, but like a Sullivan Barrera, someone that's fought for all titles, fought the other top champions before, like Kovalev, and like I don't think he fought. I know he fought Ward. I can't remember. I don't think he fought Bivol. I don't think so. So anyway, he's fought that kind of level. You know what I mean? So then that's a good kind of test or guide to where you are. Basically, you can kind of judge yourself on their performances and how, where you're at referee. He's fought none of these guys. So his career's been managed horribly. And I know he got a great deal with Adidas and he's a global ambassador, and well done and respect and love for that, because where you're coming from as well. For you to be even in that light, enough love. So outside boxing for me, it's a bit strange because his status outside boxing is higher than what is actually in boxing, like what he's done. He's done nothing in boxing. But in terms of his appeal and his brand of Anthony Yarde, it's there. But what he's done in boxing is here. He's like, there's a big gap of levels between where they are, So I'm just a bit disappointed because I can't see nothing but carnage come October. If that fight becomes made and he's over here in the O2, I'll try to get to the fight. I'll see if that fight happens with him. I'll see if I can get tickets and we all, I'll try to get to the fight. But in terms of the way his career's been managed, it's been poor. You don't manage a fight like that. Like, fair enough, the first run to the title was poor, from journeyman to elite world champions in Kovalev. But cool, you can make mistakes. In life, we're humans, we make mistakes. But then you don't go and do the same mistake again. You go and correct it. So cool, we need to guide you better to the world title. So when we get there, whether you win or not, we can say this time officially, you're ready. You've had the relevant fights, you've had the relevant tests, you're ready now for that world title for the second time. But Yarde's not ready for that fight. Like, and anything, Peterviev is a more dangerous fight for him than Kovalev was, because Kovalev was a faded fighter by the time he fought Yarde. And I'm not trying to take credit away from Yarde. He had a good round in there, but to be fair, he was getting comfortably beaten in that fight anyway, just off the jab of Kovalev. If you remember that fight correctly, Kovalev was controlling him with a jab. You know what I mean? Yarde just had one good round and he caught him, and then that was it. But if you think prior to that wasn't really the crusher that he fought. He fought a faded Kovalev. The crusher that was there was who Andre Ward fought. He fought the crusher. I remember that time he had that mystique about him, but nobody wanted to get in the ring with Kovalev because he just iced him man out. It was a bit like Golovkin, just iced him man out. No one was trying to fight them two, right? And obviously Ward hurt him, and then obviously Avila Alvarez knocked him out cold. In the first fight, I know there are two fights and he won the rematch on points, but the first fight he got caught and knocked out clean. So he fought a guy that's been stopped twice prior to him fighting. So he fought a faded version of Kovalev, right? But Peterviev is not a faded version. He's 37. He's probably on the slide of his prime, but he's still in his prime enough to wipe Yarde out, So he's fighting a more dangerous opponent. He's fighting a guy that doesn't know how to lose. He's fighting a guy that doesn't know what the scorecards look like because he's never got to the judges. He knocks out every single man that he gets in the ring with. So Yarde's got issues. And Yarde's not showing me nothing in any of the fights he's had to make me feel like he can step in the ring and do something to Betibiev that anyone else hasn't done. Like I said, Yarde, he's been in there with more skilled fighters than Yarde and wiped them out. Now, I know Yarde's a different commodity, but them man there have had more experience than Yarde, the guys that have stepped in the ring with him. So I just don't see what Yarde's going to possess in there that's going to cause him trouble, And I just don't like, because Yarde's a precocious talent. This boy could with the right fights and learning and that, he could rule the division with Buatsi and stuff like that. But this could end careers. What's Yarde, 30, 31? If he gets iced out, like, I'm being serious, like in a similar Joe Smith fashion, maybe not in 2 rounds, but he gets cleaned out. Where does his career go then? Because what's he going to do then? Look for the Buatsi fight. That fight don't sell no more like that. I'm not saying that no one won't see it. Nobody doesn't want to see it. But it won't sell the same way. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So And then obviously Bratsy, look, put it this way, Bratsy's been managed better than him. Bratsy's had these relevant fights where he's had, I think, the Klanish fight, I can't remember the guy's name, the guy that swallowed up his eye. That's a gut check. You need them kind of gut checks when you're coming up the rankings before. And bearing in mind, Bratsy's had a much more extensive amateur career. He won the bronze at the Olympics, Rio, right? And he was a seasoned amateur, so he can be kind of fast tracked. But he's had the relevant fights, and obviously he fought that guy. What's that guy's name, man? He fought before Craig Richards. And he had that. Is it Blotniks? That's it. He fought Blotniks. That's a good fight. And then he fought Craig Richards, obviously, recently. Again, a guy, but he kind of got the best of both, because Craig Richards was obviously a nice little British level / world level fight. Plus, Richards just fought for world title not that long prior. So he's fighting a guy that's been fighting that. He's a contender and a guy that's just a former world title opponent. You know what I mean? So he got the best of both worlds in one fight. So he's had that kind of fights. So if he was to throw in against a Bivol, not to say that I think he would win it at this stage. I still think he needs a fight or two prior to that. But you could give it with chest and say, he's more readier than Yarde. You know what I mean? Because you can see the progression of the level of opposition. Yarde has been fighting journeyman most of his career, right? And then he's had 2 fights with Lyndon Arthur. And what? And then one of them he lost, but I know the circumstances outside boxing, so you could give him a bye for that. His mind wasn't in the right place. Second fight, obviously got rid of Arthur in 4 rounds, I think. But that's your best win, and then you're going to go step up to the elite level against the number 1 guy in the division for the moment. He's got 3 of the belts. I know Bivol will argue that, but he's got 3 of the 4 belts. And you're going to go fight the number 1 in the division, who is so ferocious and fearsome. I can't see that, man. That for me just doesn't smell right. So I'm not quite sure. And the other thing is how is Yarde getting 2 mandatories in 3 years in the WBO? And this to me points to the politics of boxing, because for those of you who don't know, Frank Warren and the WBO got a very, very tight bond. If you guys don't know, in the 90s when the WBO was first coming out, and it wasn't recognized by the other sanctioning bodies as a legit world title, similar to the IBO right now. No one classes the IBO as a world champion. So when Chris Eubanks Jr. was walking around the IBO, everyone's laughing because nobody looks at that as a world champion. They more look at that as like an international belt. It's not legit world title. That's how the WBO was in the 90s. So no one really looked at it as a serious, or the other sanctioning bodies didn't recognize it as a world title, basically. So Frank Warren worked really closely with them, and obviously they gave Frank Warren all Frank Warren's fighters world title shots. So you go, Prince Nazim was a WBO champion, Joe Kawasaki was a WBO champion, even Johnny Nelson was a WBO champion. All Frank Warren fighters at the time were all WBO champions. And even if you look more recently, like even Billy Joe Saunders when he was with Frank Warren. Thinking of other people. There's other people, right? So he's been that guy. So they got a close relationship because no fighter, the only person I can think to recent history was Bermain Stavern with the WBC when he got knocked, him and Wilder fought for the title and Wilder beat him when he became world champion. Stavern fought he fought 1 guy in 2 years, Derek Rossi, who dropped him. And then after that, he became mandatory again, and obviously we also happened in the second fight, Wilder just got rid of Stavern easy. So that's the only other case I could see recently of a man getting 2 mandatories in the space of a few years. Yarde's done nothing and fought no one to be mandatory again. So number 1, for me, he doesn't deserve to be mandatory again. And number 2, he's not ready to be mandatory. You got man in I ain't looked at the ranking in bodies. I saw it briefly. You got man like Gilberto Ramirez. I think it's 3rd or 4th or maybe 5th in the ranking. He's done more at light heavyweight than Yarde, but yet he's not mandatory for that belt. I think, hold on, correct me if I'm wrong. Gilberto Ramirez was WBO champion at 168, right? How come, and normally in the WBO, I think I explained this in an earlier video, that normally you become mandatory when you move up in weight. I don't know I'm not sure if you move down in weight, you become mandatory. I know when you move up in weight in WBO rankings, you become automatic mandatory. Like Usyk was for Joshua when he was cruiserweight WBO champion and moved up to heavyweight. You become automatic mandatory for the next belt. At that higher weight division. So I'm not, and I'm sure in that time frame, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I got it wrong, but I'm sure in that time frame he moved up to light heavyweight from 168. So how has he not got a title shot before Yarde? But even if that's not the case, he's done more, he's fought more like actual season light heavyweights than Yarde. So how come he's not actually getting a shot? And there's other guys in there that done more work. I want to look at it properly, but from what I briefly looked at, how's Yarde got 2 managers? And that just based down to me, Frank Warren's relationship with the WBO is why the politics of boxing is why he's now in that position. Because Yarde's done nothing to be mandatory even in the first place, the first time, let alone this time. So I don't know, man. For me, this doesn't end pretty at all, man. And I'm just fearful of the health and stuff of Yarde, man, because he's got such talent. But you know, if you're not managed correctly, then you can get thrown away. And I heard Base say on Undefeated about, you know, if this goes horribly wrong, which I think he will, and I think he thinks he will, Tunde out, man. Because he's a manager. Forget about a trainer. You can have your opinion on maybe think he's the right trainer for Yarde and stuff like that if he's given the right instructions in the corner. But he's a manager. And if you put your man in there and he gets seriously hurt and his career's been managed poorly anyway, you're gonna have to freshen things up, man. You know, look at AJ freshening things up with new trainer and stuff like that, man. You're gonna have to freshen things up and get rid of man still, because you know, even from a manager point of view, you know what I mean. Rather, it don't necessarily have to be as a whole package, but maybe even as a manager point of view, you know. Yeah, I don't know, man, but yeah, we'll see, man. Maybe during 258, man, or something like that, man. You need something different because I can't see this going well. Listen, man, I'll go out there in October if the fight's official. I'll try and support Yarde because at the end of the day, he's British. He's from, you know, I mean, I'm from South, he's from East, but you know, the community's a community, man. And I hope, and I wish him the best, man. But I feel like he could have been in a better position to be in a better position for me to be like, yeah, with chess, that you know, I actually feel like you can win this fight. I'll be lying if I sit and feel like, unless he catches Patego early and really hurts him, I just can't see any way he beats him. You know, I know Yarde will say he can punch hard, but against who though? You know, who have you really punched at any level apart from Journeyman to say, alright, and against Lyndon Arthur, Commonwealth kind of level, to say you're a big puncher. You know, I've seen this with Furman at welterweight. One time Furman. As soon as he started fighting world level opponents, it became sometime. He became 0 time. No more knockouts. Knockouts stopped. Yarde hasn't done nothing to no one at any level other than Commonwealth. So we don't know about his punching power if that transmutes to world level. We don't know. You know, we have no idea. Do you know what I mean? Because they might come on and say, yeah, he hurt Kovalev. Well, like I said, Ward stopped Kovalev. A leader, Alvarez stopped him and he iced him out. Yarde hurt him and wobbled him. We ain't gonna lie about that. We saw him running around the ring, Kovalev. But Vila Alvarez knocked him out clean. He was out. There was no wobbling around. He was out. You know, Yarde didn't out him because Kovalev recovered and outed him. So, how big is his punching power at that level? You know what I mean? But I'm sure we'll see, man. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it, man. Leave your comments in the comments section below. It's your boy Sheltastic for another video. I've got more coming out, trust me. So, share, like, subscribe, all of those good things, man. And I'll be back with a new video very soon. Peace.